has a dream. For some, it may be to become an athlete or a famous musician. But for Amy Purdy, it was to snowboard and live in a place where it snows. This speech was given at TED in November 2011, and it describes Amy Purdy's life and the event that changes her life forever. Living Beyond Limits by Amy Purdy. If your lives were a book, and you were the author, how would you want your story to go? That's the question that changed my life forever. Growing up in the hot Las Vegas desert, all I ever wanted was to be free. I would daydream about traveling the world, living in a place where it snowed, and I would picture all of the stories that I would go on to tell. At the age of 19, the day after I graduated, I moved to a place where it snowed and became a massage therapist. And with this job, all I needed were my hands and my massage table, and I could go anywhere. For the first time in my life, I felt free, independent, and completely in control of my life. That is until my life didn't so. I went home from work early one day with what I thought was the flu, and less than 24 hours later, I was in the hospital on life support with less than a 2% chance of living. It wasn't until days later, as I lay in a coma, that the doctors diagnosed me with bacterial meningitis, a vaccine-preventable blood infection. Over the course of 2.5 months, I lost my spleen, my kidneys, the hearing in my left ear, and both of my legs below the knee. When my parents wheeled me out of the hospital, I felt like I'd been pieced back together like a plastic doll. I thought the worst was over, until weeks later, when I saw my new leg for the first time. The calves were bulky blocks of metal with pipes bolted together to the ankles, and a yellow rubber foot with a raised rubber line from the toe to the ankle that looked like a boot. I didn't know what to expect, but I was not expecting this. With my mom by my side and tears streaming down her faces, I strapped on these chunky legs and stood up. It was so painful and so confining that all I could think was, how was I ever going to travel the world in these? How was I ever going to live the life full of adventures and stories as I always wanted? And how was I ever going to snowboard again? That day I went home and I crawled into bed. And this is what my life looked like for the next few months. Me, passed out, escaping from reality, with my legs resting by my side. I was absolutely physically and emotionally broken. But I knew that in order to move forward, I had to let go of the old Amy and learn to embrace the new Amy. And that's when it dawned on me that I didn't have to be 5'5" anymore. I could be as tall as I wanted. And if I ever snowboarded again, my feet aren't going to get cold. And best of all, I thought, I can make my feet the size of all the shoes on the sales rack. And that's what I did. So there were benefits here. It was at that moment that I asked myself that life-defining question. If my life were a book, and I were the author, how would I want my story to go? And I began to daydream. I daydreamed as I did when I was a little girl, and I imagined myself walking gracefully, helping other people through my journey and snowboarding again. And I didn't just see myself carving down a mountain of power. I could actually feel it. I could feel the wind against my face and the beat of my racing heart, as if it were happening in that very moment. And that's when a new chapter in my life. 4 months later, I was back up on the snowboard, although things didn't go quite as expected. My knees and my ankles wouldn't bend, and at one point, I traumatized all the skiers on the chairlift when I fell and my legs, still attached to my snowboard, went flying down the mountain, and I was on top of the mountain. I was so shocked. I was as shocked as everybody else, and I was so discouraged. that I knew that if I could find the right pair of feet, that I would be able to do it. And this is when I learned that our borders and our obstacles can only do two things. One, stop us in our tracks, or two, force us to get creative. I did a year of research, still couldn't figure out what kind of lights to use. I couldn't find any resources that could help me, so I decided to make a pair myself. My leg maker and I ran the parts together, and we made a pair of feet that I could snowboard. Rusted bolts, rubber, wood, and neon suspenders. And yes, I can change my toenail polish. It was these legs and the best 21st birthday gift I could ever receive. A new kidney in my dad that allowed me to follow my dreams. I started snowboarding, then I went back to work, and then I went back to school. Then in 2005, I co-founded a nonprofit organization for youth and young adults with physical disabilities so that they could get involved with action sports. From there, I had the opportunity to go to South Africa, where I helped to put shoes on thousands of children's feet so that they could attend school. And just this past February, I won 2 back-to-back World Cup gold medals, which made me the highest-ranked adaptive female snowboarder in the world. 11 years ago, when I lost my leg, I had no idea what to expect. But if you asked me today if I would ever want to change my situation, I would have to say no. Because my legs haven't disabled. If anything, they've enabled me. They've forced me to rely on my imagination and to believe in the possibilities. And that's why I believe that our imagination can be used for tools for breaking through borders. Because in our lives, we can do anything and we can be anything. It's believing in those dreams and facing our fears head on that allows us to live our lives beyond our limits. And although today is about innovation without borders, I have to say that in my life, innovation has only been possible because of my borders. I've learned that our borders are where the actual ends, but also where the imagination and story begins. So the thought that I would like to challenge you with today is that maybe instead of looking at our challenges and our obstacles as something negative or bad, we can begin to look at them as blessings, magnificent gifts that can be used to ignite our imagination and help us go further than we ever knew we could. It's not about breaking down our borders. It's about pushing off of them and seeing what amazing places they might bring us. Thank you.